Okay, I am Madam Ariane. I am happy to be here. How are you today?
Today, we're excited to introduce Ariane Qureshi, who volunteered with Fafali for 3 impactful weeks. Throughout her time with us, Ariane brought dedication, passion, and energy to our mission. Let's dive into her experience and the journey she had while volunteering.
We probably brought it on ourselves, but we decided to work in the schools every day and to do an after-school program every day. So this volunteer experience was very different than others that I've done in the past because we worked at the schools and at after-school activities and clubs. We were involved with a lot of children, like hundreds of children, which was very different than anything that I've done in the past. So just the sheer volume of people that we were trying to work with and teach and have fun with and mentor to the extent that we could in our 3 weeks, that made it very different than other experiences.
One of the most unique things about this opportunity was the sheer volume of children with whom we were able to interact. And what was most rewarding or fulfilling, one thing flows from that, the opportunity to interact with so many children and to touch people and be touched by just a lot of children, hundreds of children. That was wonderful. And the other thing that was personally fulfilling for me was really getting out of my comfort zone. Like an example was our first day at the first school. I was put into a classroom and they just said, do whatever you want to do. And I had to just think on my feet, try to assess where the kids were, what they wanted to engage in, but something that was educational. And so I just got up there and I made something up, and it was great. The kids loved it, I loved it, and I really had to think on my feet.
So our family is of the mind that we are lucky to have the things we have, and so we view volunteering as something essential for our family, and so we all do it, everybody in our family. But my favorite volunteering experiences are the ones that I've done with my daughters, and I think it's an opportunity to share something special in a place that you wouldn't normally go together, and to spend quality time. I mean, this is the first time I've spent 3 weeks with just Alea. And when I did a similar thing with my other daughter, it was the first time I had spent several weeks with just that daughter. And it's unique, and it brought us together, and yet was challenging, but very rewarding. For our family, we've done a lot of traveling, we've done a lot of social work and volunteer work, but as a family, doing things together, I think sort of drives things home. And when you, as a family, go to a place and work together, doing the tough work, it's much more fulfilling and rewarding and meaningful and impactful in your lives than just, for instance, writing a check to UNICEF. So I think it's been great for our family, and I think it's instilling values in our children that they will continue with their families in the future. Well, this will be pretty short and sweet. I just highly recommend doing volunteer work with families. Either one parent and one child, I think, is sort of the right amount. But I've known families who've done trips together and they've loved it as well. It brings you together in a way that's very different than a vacation, say. It's wonderful, and there's nothing else like it. It's also an opportunity as a parent to model good behavior and good volunteer characteristics in a setting away from home. So I think it's a good learning experience for kids as well. One experience was I was a little bit frustrated by the what I consider very dry sort of workbooks that the kids were working on. They were all working, they were working hard and diligently, but they seemed a little stale to me. I wasn't sure of the level of engagement. But we played a game, charades, and I was amazed at how much the children enjoyed playing the game. And not only did they enjoy playing the game, but something really surprising happened. We were playing, everyone was having a great time, kids were acting things out, people were guessing, it was proceeding like a normal charades game. And then one girl, whenever she saw a word that she hadn't seen before, she came up to me and she asked me for the piece of paper that had the word on it. And if she didn't know what it meant, she asked me what it meant, and then she took the piece of paper back to her desk and she wrote down the word. So every time this happened, she asked to see the paper and she wrote it down. So I loved it that she was so interested in learning and that she took the initiative to further educate herself. I thought it was great. That warmed my heart. One of the things that's really coming out of this particular experience for me is that Fafali is doing so many things, but I think the after-school programs are particularly important because Fafali can only have so much influence on the curriculum and what happens in school. And yes, it can impact getting books into the school and improving some of the things that are happening in the schools. But these after-school programs, they're really engaging the kids. There's a computer program, there's a programming course, there's an environmental impact class, there are sports-related classes, there's the golf club, there's the art club, there's a girls empowerment club, and I've been able to see almost all these clubs in action. And engaging the kids after school in a sort of more closely knit and personal way, I think is hugely important. It keeps the kids engaged in their community, it keeps them doing something that's stimulating, and it keeps them out of trouble. Yes, we are involved in lots of organizations, and we do, my full-time job is a volunteer job at home, and my husband is the president of a volunteer organization as well. So we will continue all our volunteer work, but I do envision continuing to support Fafali in the future, yes. So I think volunteering in an in-person way is critical. In some ways, it's easier than just writing a check, and in some ways, it's much more difficult. When you're just you're hearing about the plight of, say, refugees in the world, it's easy to just think in general of refugees and to write a check to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. You're just writing a check, you know it's going to refugees around the world, but it's abstract. When you are doing volunteer work in person, you are seeing with your own eyes the needs, the problems, and maybe some potential solutions. So I think that to be sort of a well-rounded good citizen, you should have both things in your life. Fafali, keep up the good work. You guys are doing amazing things, and I love it that your kids are so engaged, and you have some really great kids. And I've gone out of my way when I recognize a smart kid or a kid who I think is talented to tell them, encourage people. Just keep encouraging people. It will all blossom.